Greetings, vloggers, bloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty with another amazing vlog for you. If you haven't been following me over the last few years, my name is Dustin. I'm autistic. I'm near 40, and I've been doing this vlog thing for about 5 years now. It'll be 5 years in June. But on top of that, I've been living independently for about 6 years, and I guess you would say I've been working a part-time job for 15. So I've been down this road we call autism, and I guess you would say I am thriving. And I guess that's where we come to in today's juncture of today's vlog. We've been doing these vlogs for a while, and for the most part, I've seemed to be in good spirits, and most of the time I am. And sometimes in life, you were just thrown a curveball. And believe me, in life, as being autistic, I have thrown many curveballs in my life, and I've been resilient, been very resilient at bouncing back from adversity. You think when you've hit the worst, you've hit the worst. And life has definitely thrown me enough curveballs in my time. The last 6 years have been a lot of curveballs. Um, about 4 years ago, my first apartment was in a condition that I couldn't stay there, and the world as COVID came, we knew, and it hit us, and I went through a lot of things at that time, and we thought that would be, it would be that, and then eventually that would pass, and lockdowns would be lifted, and I'd find a place to live, and I was here in the end of that year. But things do change in the course of life, and they have changed a lot in the past, I'd say, 2 years. I've We have a new workplace now, although it took me some time to get used to. Oh, I missed that. I was in a manic episode from not taking care of my mental health. And when that all whammy hit together, it hit too bad. And you think you learned the first time, but you didn't learn the first time. And then you had a second round where still didn't realize where things were, and yet another whammy hit, and it hit harder. It didn't hit as hard, but I bounced back better. So we have these resilient moments where we bounce back from things. And the last year has been a lot to bounce back from. My father had a brain injury. Well, I wouldn't say a stroke, actually, it was not a it was a brain injury back in May. And he's finally home now. And he came home this week. So things have been different for the life that I've been leaving, and many know that over the past year I've been going to see him about once or twice a week. So a lot of change has happened in my life the past year, and now the time has came where he's home. So as part of being home, my mom has to take that role that she is his caregiver. And it is an overly abundant role where it requires a lot of effort on her part. Granted, we have a lot of people, we have a big support system, but still, it is a big role on her part to make sure that that's done. Now, there is nothing, that I would ever do to replace that role. It is a big step for her, and for the longest time, I resented that fact that she was going to step into that role. But it is what it is, and I guess what the nucleus of today's vlog is when we get down to being resilient and keep on going is, we keep on going. No matter how hard it is, no matter how rough it can be, no matter how hard that step can be to take, we keep on going because we don't know the meaning of giving up or turning ourselves in or saying something is too much. And granted, there can be times when things are a lot or they're overwhelming for us. we think we can't handle them, or we think they're just overwhelming and they're overpowering, but in essence they're not. Sometimes we think we can't handle it, or we think it's just we don't want to deal with the issue at hand, or we don't want to face reality, um or we don't just want to we don't want to we don't want to be real about ourselves and know that it's okay for us to be who we are and what we're doing in life, how we're expanding, how we're existing, and how we're going, and how we're going to be our best self, even when it doesn't seem that way. For example, yesterday I was very down and out for some time, and I spent some time in bed, and I do that from time to time, but this week it's been rough on that part because things have been different for me. And while they are different, they're easily manageable. I can get around, I can do what I need to do. I'm grateful for some things that I have in my life, such as the shared ride that about over a year ago I would have never set foot on, and I was able to go get my blood draw this week on the shared ride without an issue and come home in short order, and things worked out quite well with that. It's just like any other day I'd have been out getting on the bus. In fact, I rode the bus with some of the same people that I would have any other morning. I would have went to the same location at that time. But except I got off at the medical complex. I got my blood draw. I called for a ride, and a bus came around, and it was the same one of the same drivers I get all the time. So things, work out for what they work out for. They do work out. They are good. Some things change, and that is just what life is. It's what it is. It's part of what you know life is supposed to be. Everything changes, as someone told me once. And as hard as that can be for an autistic person to accept, like myself, it's just what it is. We don't have the power to wave the wand or say how things are going to go from one moment to the next. We just have to go with what is given to us, and how it is. Sometimes we don't have the power to make decisions that we think we have the power to make. We think we should, but life doesn't hand us what we're not capable of, or what we don't understand. But at the same time, it puts us through a trial of such that we think, oh, we're not able to do this, or we want to give up or give in or feel sorry for ourselves in the process. But ultimately we pick ourselves up, and we get moving, and we put our best foot forward, even though there are a million reasons why we think we can't. And this week has been that. We get down and out. I get down and out about things, or I think I can't do this or that or the other thing. But in the end, I pick myself up, and I do what I need to do, because it's not going to get done otherwise. And there's a reality that things have to get done, and parts of life have to happen, whether they're there, as they were before, or as they're not, or whatever that may be. Um, we can't sit by and let those things go because they don't happen in the way that they did before. Granted, they may look different, they may happen differently, but it doesn't mean that anything's different about them. It's just how it is, and there's not sometimes we don't have control how things are, or how things go. um we can be frustrated, we can be upset, we can be angry, but we don't it's important not to take it out at others that are affected by what has transpired, or what they have to live through as part of that process. It can, it's easy to want to play the blame game or play the victim, but it's also important to understand and know that, you know, you're capable of more than you think. And that's a lot of my scenario is knowing that I am capable of more than I want to believe or think about myself or others or anything of that nature. I often don't believe I'm capable of things that I know I'm capable of, or that, I can keep going on, even though it may seem like it's a hard thing to do or a challenging thing to do, or that there's no reason to, or those down and out statements that really don't make any sense when I can put a front out and, you know, show the world that I am capable of, doing things that wouldn't seem easy. And it's been a wild ride I've been on for the past nearly 40 years. And you think that you haven't been able to do all these things, but I've done a lot of things that, I wouldn't have otherwise believed that I would have been able to do, because it was those people who had pushed me to do those things. And sometimes it makes us, we have to step outside of our comfort zone when we do them. And that's the hard part. I think when you have anxiety and things of that nature, you know, stepping out of the comfort zone is one of the hardest things that can be done, or that has to be done to do the next thing, to make us, to help improve our quality of life or make us feel comfortable. It can seem difficult. It can seem like there's, you don't have a purpose, or that either you're not capable of it, or that's not you, or something like that. And sometimes you're asked to do things because you can be that person who has been there, lived the experience, walked the walk, and talked the talk. But if you're in denial about it, and I have been, there has been points this week, past week, where I have been and didn't want to be, that person who has lived that walk and walked the walk and talked the talk, and to be there to support, people to come and walk the same journey that I have walked. Um, then what good is it? What good does it bring to the table if, I haven't done what I've done? And part of that is, having that, what I expect to have, that has been in place for many decades, to be a part of what it is. It can be hard to keep going on sometimes. It can be challenging. You don't, especially when things seem mundane and repetitive, and they don't seem to have, you know, an end in sight, or that they're never going to get better. And not seeing that there is potential, or that things, could change, or actually, be good for me. Or that there's different options out there in the world beside what my limited field of vision may be. um, it can be hard to see that. It can be hard to understand what that's like, or where I could go, or the places I could go, or where I could dare to dream to end. You know, I have to realize that life isn't over yet for me. Even though it's changing and the way that things happen, there are other people out there who love and support and care for me, and that it's important to keep on, and keep on. As hard as it can be sometimes, and as much as I want to sit and have a pity party about myself, that's just not the way to be. That's not the way to live. Um, it's not what others expect of me. We all have our moments. There, without a doubt, we all have our moments. But for me, I have to realize I have to move on. I have to grow up. I have to keep on going. And that essentially is what it is. Things are different now. I will agree. But, we have to build from those experiences. We have to keep going, even though it's hard. And I guess that's what the nucleus of it is, it can be hard to do new things. It can be hard to adjust to situations that are beyond our control, but we keep on going and we make it our best. So, with that being said, I want to thank you for listening today. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, X, and Pinterest. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty. I'm on the web. That address is www.dustinsdynastyusa.com. And lastly, I'm on Linktree. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty. Again, I want to thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.